Hello everyone. So here we are again, and this is our first lesson. We are going to talk about the grammar topic, and as you can see, it is present simple versus present continuous. I'm sure you know this topic really well, but anyways, we are going to refresh some information about these tenses. So I'm going to show you the materials, and we are going to talk about present simple first. The first one is the form. As usual, we are going to remember or just refresh how we form sentences in present simple. It's pretty easy. We all remember that for pronouns like I, you, we, they, we just use the first form of the verb. But when it comes to third person singular, like he, she, it, we usually add s or es to our verbs. When it comes to questions and negations, we use auxiliary verbs like do, does, and I'm pretty sure you remember it too that does is used for the third person singular and do is used for the other ones. When we form the question or a negative sentence using he, she, or it, our verb changes into the first form. Let's use one more example. Here we have the sentence, does he work? But let's change it into she. Okay, 1 second. Yeah. For example, she likes cats. If we make a negative sentence, we are going to use our auxiliary verb does and not. It is going to sound like she doesn't or she does not like cats. So our verb doesn't change at all. If we make a question, we use auxiliary verb in the beginning of the sentence before the subject, and it sounds like does she like cats? Okay, so I'm sure you know it really well. Then we are going to talk a little bit about short answers. We have some examples of them. Yes, I do. No, he doesn't. And instead of I, you can use any of the we can use I, you, we, they, or some other pronouns. For example, if the question is, do you work? I can answer, yes, I do. I do work as a teacher. If we ask the third person singular, does he work or does she work? We can answer about them using no, he doesn't, no, she doesn't, or if it's positive answer, we can use yes, he or she does. I'm sure it is pretty clear to you, but anyways, if you have any questions, you can just text me. We see example of negations of negative sentences, and we form them by using auxiliary verb plus not. I do not work, he does not work. Some short versions, contractions, don't and doesn't. I'd like to pay your attention to the use of the tense, because sometimes students can have some problems with it. So we are reading the example firstly. The example sounds as he works at a hotel. He lays the tables and serves dinner every day. Firstly, we can see that we are talking about him. That's why everywhere we have s endings of the verbs. And this is about some permanent states and repeated actions, also about daily routines. If I make such an example about myself, it would be every day I take my daughter to kindergarten. Actually, it's not kindergarten, it's kind of preschool. I take my daughter, let's say, to school. It's not kind of a school, but it's an educational center. Let it be school. So this is my routine, the thing I do every day. And yeah, it's a repeated action. Next, a situation is when we use present simple for general truths and laws of nature. Here we have an example. It rarely rains in the desert. The same thing happens with it. We can see that our verb has s ending as we are speaking about the third person singular. Also, we can make an example about water You know this example that water boils at 100 degrees. Or we can use something as ice is cold. It's also some kind of general truth or law of nature. So next one, the situation when we can use present simple is for timetables. For talking about timetables, of trains, some planes, even cinemas, and programs. Here we have an example, and it sounds like the plane to London takes off at 6:50 a.m. Again, we are talking about the plane, one plane. It's a third person singular. That's why our verb has s ending takes off. Here it's a phrasal verb, and we remember that when it comes to phrasal verbs, we add some endings to the first part of the phrasal verb. Also, we can use present simple for sports commentaries, reviews, and narration. Here we have great examples. Let's read the first one. Hill kicks the ball and passes it to Dawson. So it's happening right now. We are watching the game, but anyways, we are not using present continuous. We are using present simple because it's a sports commentary. Comment we can say. Next example, Laura Hunt acts superbly in the film. This is a review. We can imagine that somebody watched a movie with this Laura Hunt and wrote some review about her, and he was stunned by her acting skills and wrote, Laura Hunt acts superbly in the film. We are talking about the third person singular, about her. That's why we're adding as to the verb. And the third example is so the prince tells her, and it is narration. Narration can be seen in some books or some plays, if you read plays like Romeo and Juliet, and some other works of writers. We see that it's kind of a description of what is happening at that specific time in the book. Also, we need to remember about time expressions used with present simple tense. They are the words, adverbs like usually, always, every day, every week, every month, every year, and etc. Also, we can use such ones as on Mondays, Tuesdays, in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, at night, at the weekend. So I can say that we meet twice a week. We meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays, or we meet on Wednesdays and Fridays. So this is an example about us. Also, one more thing to mention that when we use present simple and when we talk about the third person singular, he, she, it, we usually add s or es to the verbs. But we need to remember how to add them. We add s ending if we have regular verbs, but we need to remember about such sounds as s, sh, ch, x, o. If we have verbs ending to these letters, we usually add es to our verbs. Here we have an example. For example, you have scratches. I can add one more. Let it be crosses, like he crosses the road every day, or she watches series on her laptop. Yeah, it's about me. I always watch some series on my laptop. Next one, vowel plus y plus s. In this case, we just add s ending, and it looks like says. Some other ones says, stays. I will add it too, because we have a vowel before y and just can add s. But when we have consonant plus y, we need to forget about y, we cross it out and use I instead of it and add es ending. Here we have an example as tries. We can also add one more. I don't like this word, but anyways, it's a it's a verb which sounds as cry. If I add s ending, it would look like cries. We need to change the endings because if I add just s ending, it will sound like crease. So for that reason, we are changing it like this. I'm sure you remember about it too. So then we will talk about present continuous. If we use present simple for talking about some daily routines, some facts, natural laws, timetables, or some narration in books, reviews, present continuous is something else. And I'm sure you remember it too, but anyways, we are going to repeat it. So the form is pretty easy. It is our verb to be with changes. I hope you remember it. So, yeah, we have the verb to be and we use its different forms. Am, is, plus are. Okay, yeah, it's here. I hope you remember when we use these forms. So am is for I, is for third person singular. I like them very much. So it's he, she, and it. Okay, let's use a pencil. And are is for we, you, and they. Okay. So you remember it well, but anyways, we've just refreshed it. So here we can see the form of present continuous tense. We need to use our to be, and then we need to add ing ending to the main verb. Here we have some examples. Let's read this one. He is working. We also can use some contractions. He's working. When it comes to questions, our to be, our verb to be, it changes its place and goes before the subject. So here we see an example as are you working? Is he working? Short answers are pretty easy too. We use just our answer, yes, and pronoun plus to be. Yes, I am. No, he isn't. Or yes, he is. When it comes to negations, to negative sentences, we just add not after our to be. So it sounds like I am not working, he's not working, they are not working, and etc. So the form is pretty easy. Again, if you have any questions, just text me, but I'm sure you remember it really well. As it's simple topic of pre-intermediate level and even elementary, even beginner, because we always talk about present simple and present continuous while learning English. The use, when we use present continuous, we are looking at the example. It sounds as Helen is working hard these days. Right now, she's reading a newspaper. She's not working at the moment of speaking. Here we see that Helen is working hard these days. Doesn't mean that she's working right now. So it's about an action taking place now or at the moment of speaking. For example, I can say that these days I'm not cooking much. It doesn't mean that I'm not cooking right now, but it means that these couple of days, these last few days, I am not doing it. So it's some kind of temporary action. Also, yeah, temporary actions. That is action that are going on around now, but not at the actual moment of speaking. Also, we see that right now she's reading a newspaper. Yeah, it's about the thing that she's doing at the moment. Right now, we can see her reading. Next example sounds as you're always forgetting to pay the bills. Oh, I like this one. I know that usually we use always in present simple, but sometimes we can use it with present continuous. When? When we are irritated about something. So, with always, we can use present simple when we want to express our irritation at actions which happen too often. I like using one example connected to my husband. I can say that he's always throwing his socks around the house. and I hate it. I don't like it. Or I can use it about um, my daughter. Um she's always playing with all of her toys and she's always not cleaning them. I know it's kind of a strange example, but anyways, you can feel my irritation that I don't really like it. And that's why I'm saying that, you're always doing it. I hate it. So, we are going to the next example. And here we can see this example about Melanie. Melanie is getting married at 3 this afternoon. The time and place for wedding ceremony have been decided. So in this example, we can see an action that has already been arranged in the near future, especially when the time and place have been decided. And we all remember that present continuous can be used for some arrangements, for some plans for the future. Yeah, we can see that she's obviously getting married very soon. Next one is pretty popular too. We can use present continuous for changing or developing situations. The example sounds like more and more forests are disappearing because of fires. We see that situation is changing right now, nowadays, and that's why we are using this continuous tense because it's happening at this moment. I can say that more and more people are using Kazakh language these days. Yeah, are using the Kazakh language these days. I'm sure that it's true. Or more and more teenagers are watching TikTok nowadays or these days. So the time expressions that are used in present continuous are now, at the moment, these days, at present, tonight, nowadays, still, etc. If we talk about ing ending, it's pretty clear. We add y plus ing when it comes to some verbs that finish with these letters like ie. Here we have an example like lying. I will add one more, die, and if it's a process and it's happening right now, I can say dying and I need to use y plus ing instead of ie and ing. Next one, if we have a verb ending in e, we need to use just ing without e. One more example, yeah, here we have diving, and let's use one more, it's dance, dancing, yeah. Dance, dancing, or dance, dancing. And double consonants plus ing. So I hope you remember it. If we have some short words, usually of one syllable, and they finish into some consonants and they have stressed vowel before the consonant, we need to double the consonants. I know it sounds strange. I mean, maybe I didn't explain it very well, but anyways, I can add one more example as stop. We see that it finished with P, which is consonant, and we have O, which is a stressed vowel before the P. That's why when we are adding ing ending, it will be doubled, stopping. Yeah, he was stopping by, for example. So this is all for today. Actually, we have one more thing to mention. Yeah, but it is kind of very easy. So it's about adverbs of frequency. We use adverbs of frequency when it comes to present simple very often. These words like always, usually, often, sometimes, seldom, rarely, never, etc. They show how often something happens, and also, yeah, the answer to the question how often. So you can see the percentage here. I'm sure you remember the meanings. If not, just text me. I will add these words on Quizlet. And I'd like to talk to you about the position of these adverbs of frequency. So here we see an example which sounds as Emily never watches horror films. Firstly, I'd like to pay your attention to never. I'm sure you remember that we can use only one negation in a sentence. So here we say never, and it means that she doesn't do it. She never watches horror films. She doesn't watch horror films at all. Yeah, and here we saw that we used our adverb of frequency before the main verb. Next one, you must always behave yourself at school. We can see that always is placed after a modal verb. Must. You must always behave yourself at school. The same thing will happen to can, for example, if we are using a modal verb in the sentence, we will place adverb of frequency after it. You can never judge people. You can always help me. Next one, does Roger often call you? Here we see an example of a question. And also, I'd like to pay your attention to our verb to be. Here we don't have such an example, but when it comes to be, we use it not as we do it with regular verbs. For example, I can say, I am always late, which is not true, in fact. And we can see that we are placing our modal verb, not modal verb, our adverb of frequency after our to be verb. I am always late. Or he is always late, she is always late. But if it's just a simple sentence with an action verb, it will be something else. I always work at night. Yeah, this is true. And you can see that we are placing always before our main verb. So you're going to practice with present simple and present continuous. On the platform, you have many tasks connected to them. I hope that you'll have time to finish everything on time, and they won't be very hard for you. Anyways, if you have any questions, if you have some comments, you can always text everything in our WhatsApp chat. So thank you for your attention and see you next time. Bye.